Is this for real, Gamefreak? One of y'all sent me an email just now. Gamefreak made a Souls game. Apparently, this was just unveiled at some conference. I'm not keeping up. Hey, teacher, not sure if you heard, but Gamefreak, the company that's been making subpar Pokemon games, I'm glad my toxicity is spreading, just revealed a new RPG that's Souls-like on Xbox Showcase. Bruh, what am I seeing on this? We're gonna look at this trailer. I know I'm not seeing this. It gotta be not developed by Gamefreak. There's no way. These suckers made Tenbo the Elephant and Little Town Hero. Are they capable? I'm hyping you up, y'all. It better say developed by Gamefreak. So this just happened. Beasts of Reincarnation. Ooh, you can't let go of Pokemon, can you? Hey, come on. Bro. Freaking savage. Dang! Imagine Pokemon freaking look like that. Alright, first thing is this is for the Xbox. There ain't gonna be a Switch version to this, is there? Let's keep watching. This is what's gonna allow them the freaking room to do all this. Bro, that is so cool. That makes no sense! Who sees a thing like that? That like wakes you up from the simulation seeing that. Are you kidding me? Bro, wait, they're actually capable. Of great looking characters. Not everyone making fun of the eyes on the new Scarlet and Violet characters. Not me, I don't freaking care that specifically, but they're freaking capable of the ray tracing, of the beautiful graphics. Yo, it's the freaking Switch limiting them. I bet you this game gonna be for the PlayStation 2, but not for the Switch. Hey, what's with this God of War crap? You ain't allowed to do this. We can't harm the Pokemon. Are you freaking kidding me? I will pause a trillion times. You thought the combat in Legends Arceus was all Gamefreak, let them try. That's what I thought. Throwing sachets at Arceus. There is no freaking way they behind the scenes were capable. This is why they took the break here, maybe. That would be hilarious if instead of getting an extra 20 million sales, they're like, I'd rather work on something else. They hate Pokemon. Yo, deep down. It's kind of true deep down. That's why they've been shifting from the formula that was just working, right? It was working. They shifted a bit with Auras, then with BDSP and Arceus. They're shifting it because they're bored, bro. You can't find a Rin anywhere, but I know Masuda. This is insane. Yo, Assassin's Creed's freaking done with this. Nah, not really. We last another 2,000 years? Blood? Oh my gosh, bro. They're a fan of they're a fan of machines and all. Still, you could see the interest in in Gamefreak, but still. Let's see what consoles it's for. Oh, Beast of Reincarnation. Emma the Sealer. Okay, it's not for PlayStation. This is crazy. Okay, so it's Gamefreak along with someone called Fictions. Okay, now obviously, get out of here, bro. Obviously, the main thing here is that this is a different genre, right? Slicing up with the blade, blood and all. It's a different genre, and also the art style entirely. Well, here, this art style right here in this lighting looks like it could fit Pokemon. But take a second to think about what you're seeing. And let me just start with this. Voice acting. We still don't got the when characters are talking in Pokemon. Bro, voice acting, crazy graphics, Pokemon, or let's say Gamefreak, they're clearly showing they know what the rest of the world looks like in the games they're making. This is insane, bro. That's too weird to see. Game Freak right there. I have to see the comments on this one. So apparently it's a Souls-like game? It looks insane. Let's hope Game Freak can deliver this quality for Gen 10. Listen. Oh my gosh. That's Area Zero. Now again, different art style, different genre, but you can cross over there. I'm not saying make Growlithe look like the wolf right here, but you can get very close and keep that Pokemon soul, okay? Which has already been kind of floating ever since the Super transition to 3D. Oh my gosh, bro. Pokemon, they might have to just level up and allow us to box Pokemon too. So, you start your adventure and, let me switch. And you have no Pokemon at first. You have to freaking box them. And then you catch your first Pokemon and now you have an ally, right? That's far in the future though, man. Pokemon would have to start failing in their current system for them to force themselves into that. But at least you can see with the Legend series, them branching out into something different and much better. And then you can see behind the scenes them actually working on a whole different style of game. At the least what this is homework and experience for them. As of the making of this game, this is now part of what Game Freak was able to do and learned from. So at least parts of this you can see in their Switch games, the new Pokemon entries. Dang, Game Freak is 1/3 owned by Nintendo, right? They ain't never gonna let go. But Game Freak makes so much money for them. If they ever want to stand up and walk out, there, Steam and Play. It is for freaking PlayStation 2, so it's for everything except the Switch. Also, they're getting help from Fictions. I don't know that company yet. Actually, it says right here. No, it's published by Fiction. Bro, this is fully developed by Game Freak? All right, we got to go to the comments, man. This is so fricked. Yo! Look at this. Set in the distant future, Beast of Reincarnation. Beast, bro, like Pokemon. But listen, follows a samurai named Emma who must defeat both yokai and mechs. Bro, these are Pokemon. These are Pokemon 2,000 years from now. Pokemon are gonna be made into the real world. But yokais are the freaking alternate to Pokemon. And mechs, it's all varieties of just creatures out there. Using a legendary ceiling plate. Gotta freaking catch them. With the help of her canine companion, Pikachu, Emma must save a post-apocalyptic Japan, Kanto to Draceno, from monstrous... This is crazy. Now, I'm joking with the over-forcing Pokemon onto it, but I'm saying you can see their mindset, right? It's like whenever I play games on Teacher World, you see me always bringing up Pokemon references, right? Because it's freaking stuck with me. That's the same with Game Freak. Game Freak just made this game to prove to everyone that they can make good-looking games. Now they'll need to figure out the frame rate. Yeah, at least it was honestly shown that the frame rate was being kind of laggy. Like in Rocket and Xerneas look so different here, wow. Nintendo seeing Game Freak doing a masterpiece instead of Pokemon. I always said that the problem was never Game Freak. It was the Pokemon company for publishing fast releases. Bro, sure, but the Pokemon stories themselves aren't too deep, you know? You can make an ass-looking game with an incredible story. It's like the whole package is generally borderline. Let them make a Pokemon game for 5 years and you'll see. Why, bro? If they wait 5 years to make a Pokemon game, it will get 20 to 50% more sales than one game they release. So they could just release 5 games and get 500% sales. Is the thought process, but Game Freak's been really transitioning a lot. And at this point, as of Legends ZM, and I gotta expand more on this in a future video, it's gonna be hard for them to make those effortless games. Not hard, but harder, because they keep giving fans an inch. But you can see, especially with the creation of this game, that, bro, Pokemon, freaking Game Freak desperately wants to do more things. Like, freaking even me, I'm playing other games. Like, it's the same situation. So this is the samurai game Game Freak was working on. Oh, I didn't know this was freaking leaked. The reason this looks so much better than modern Pokemon games is because Game Freak wasn't forced to get the game out way before it was ready. I think there was a screenshot I saw of Scarlet and Violet looking a lot more better and detailed in their very first, like, beta. And then they had to dumb things down. So it is partially true. Like, what happened to Scarlet and Violet? They aren't lazy developers. Bro. We're throwing all the babies out with the bathwater. There's a lot of relevant babies that prove they're lazy. It's a strong word, though, man. I don't want to be too mean to them, but I want to be somewhat mean. But have simply been taken advantage of. Bro, stop saying these words, taken advantage of. Call it exactly what it is. Unless it comes with the Game Freak has been making no money and Nintendo's been taking it all. Game Freak making a Monster Hunter style game. And this is the next thing, right? There's something adjacent to Pokemon that a lot of people play called Monster Hunter. While there are Monster Hunter games for the Switch, so this is a lot like the graphics you're used to in Pokemon. But in the same series, Monster Hunter, when they make like PlayStation 5 games and all, again, I don't know too much about it, then you get this freaking crazy graphics, the same as you saw in this new Beast of Reincarnation trailer. And this is the same title, Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter. Now, I'm not saying they can make Pokemon, their kid version, and then a detailed one. I'm not saying they can. Honestly, it's just crazy to see them capable of making this. Only a sword can defeat a Pokemon. It also cuts the BS, bro. You know, the idea that you can't slice a Pokemon. Oh no, they bit my toe in the wild grass. I guess I'll just die. I'll go to the forest where beetles are this big and there's 100 of them. And I guess I'm safe, a 10-year-old. My mom gonna let me get the parcel from the next town. The more BS there is, the more delusion there is, the less... Come on, bro. The better story they can tell without all that delusion here. This is crazy. Game Freak, yeah. Meanwhile, Pokemon from being a Nintendo 64 game to a Nintendo Wii game with the Switch 2 upgrade. Well, the Switch 2 didn't change much, bro. You gotta say, like, 3DS to Switch. I have a feeling this game's gonna slap hard. So if there's something I can say about Little Town Hero, the combat was so slow. I made a video, it was like a 20-minute video, but I had to play for like 3 hours. Not because I sucked, but that's how long the combat took. It was like a Monopoly game. And then the story was also very borderline for Little Town Hero, from what I can remember. So while the graphics look incredible, the thing I need Game Freak to nail is the story itself. Can you nail it? Yo, you know, this is kind of crazy. Looking back at the synopsis we read just now, it kind of does sound like what I just said with the Monster Hunter crap. This quite literally is. You're going to go around, forming a Pokedex, and there's going to be some backstories to what happened to Japan. And you're probably playing the game, uncovering it. But it's very much a lot like Pokemon. That's something to think about. Oh my gosh, bro. This is crazy. It's so funny. It's like behind our backs, they just went to Xbox's front door. This is part of Game Freak asserting its dominance. How on earth can Game Freak deliver something like the Pokemon still look like absolute dog water? Is it really the Switch 2, bro? And the Switch? Can they really not just handle a dumbed down version of these graphics? Game Freak wanted to create AAA games while Nintendo rejected. Yo, bro. Here I am yelling at Game Freak, man. But hey, notice as soon as I'm disrespectful to them, I take off the gloves, they pull this out of their ass. They did it to show me. They weren't going to reveal this for another year. My friend is like, oh, this is totally going to F over Legends ZA. And I'm like, no, it won't. Yeah, they're totally different games. People who buy Pokemon for Pokemon, yeah. You bought a Switch for Pokemon, I bought a Switch 2 for Pokemon, yeah. It was the same with me for like Mario, which is funny. But the main reason I wanted a DS was to play the Mario DS. And the main reason I wanted a Wii was for the Mario Wii. And then the Wii U was for the Mario Wii U. Literally, that's the main thing that I always wanted the systems for. I'll be so late getting them, like 2-3 years late anyway. But people aren't that deep into it. Just because Game Freak's making multiple games, they just want to play what they want to play. I do think, however, this game may finally get some necessary questions levied at Pokemon. Because if I didn't see that this game was developed by Game Freak, I wouldn't freaking know. I wouldn't either. This doesn't compute to me. You also never see Game Freak really step out of Pokemon to where they're so married. This is crazy, bro. I'm gonna have to let this set in more in my head. But this is totally redeeming Game Freak. And we're understanding better who the real culprit is. Who the real culprit behind these borderline games is. It's almost like the Pokemon company itself forces Game Freak to develop the game in a very specific way that takes into account merchandise, the anime and all, which actually boxes them in a lot. Maybe, listen to us, I'm not gonna let you go, but maybe this even forces them to make the story dumbed down. Kind of like in Mario, where the story is always Princess Peach, or we're going to save someone. But Pokemon, they could be boxed in the same way. Though, they give you glimmers of them. They give you glimmers of them wanting to do a deeper story. You can see with Black and White. Maybe generally they are boxed in, and they just try to expand as much as they can over the years. You know, this is crazy to even imagine that Masuda left Gamefreak to join the Pokemon company. How do you leave Gamefreak, which is apparently capable of so much more and has been working on this for potentially years, to join only Pokemon? That's your promotion. Hey, Masuda, bro. You're gonna have to answer my calls. It's gonna keep going. All right, bro. Shank that like button. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Are we correct in that the Pokemon company itself is the problem?